Hi, I'm back. It's second hour, and we are going to work together to go through the handbook this hour. So it's going to take a little bit more time. I want you to be ready to rumble. We are going to go through some handbook changes that I think you should know about. First of all, though, did you know we have a handbook? It is a document that we go through every summer. We have a team of people that are teachers, administrators, parents in the community who give us input on the things that need to be added or deleted or changed. And then it goes to our Board of Education and it has to be approved by them before we can hand it out to you and your families. However, most of the handbook has to do with you as the student. And so now that we're junior high and high school, I really want to go through some of the changes that have taken place in the handbook together. So go ahead and pull it up. We are going to go to hiawatha426.org. So I'm going to give you a moment to do that now. And the main page is going to look like this. So you are looking at this page. To find the handbook, you are going to go up to the Home tab. You're going to go down to For Students, and you're going to click it. And then you have all these options here, but the very first one is Student Handbook. And we are going to go through a few of them together. So first of all, notice it's updated for 25-26. You will see that every single school year we have to update it. It's a requirement for us as a district. It has office hours, table of contents, our year at a glance, which means you can see like what's the last day of school if we're counting down. I hope not yet, but you'll get to that point. Our school pledge, it has our bell schedule on here. We are going to go down to page 12 first. So I want you to scroll down all the way to page 12. And on page 12, it talks about student vacation days. This is a new paragraph in our handbook. So as a courtesy, students are allowed up to 5 excused absences per school year for family vacations, provided that a parent or guardian notifies the school in advance. That is a change to the handbook. We have not had anything in there about vacation days before. And so I want you to be aware, if your family is working on planning something, boy, we hope it happens during a break. So you have built-in Thanksgiving week off, you have winter break for 2 weeks, and then you have spring break for a week. I'd love for you to utilize that time to miss school. But if something has to happen, you are allowed up to 5. After 5 days, they will be in as unexcused absences. Now, as a district, we can turn you into truancy, which is at the county level, and the county talks to the state. So we report your attendance. That's how anybody knows you're here. And we only get truancy involved when it's an excessive amount of absences. We do everything we can to not go that route. But I think it's good for you to know in case your family is chatting, you're only allowed 5 before they're unexcused. On page 13, I just want to point out that medication has some rules and regulations. So even things as simple as like a Tylenol or an ibuprofen, that all needs to happen through the school nurse. And the school nurse has a form that your parent has to fill out or guardian has to fill out. You fill it out, put it in the nurse's office, and then you can go to her if you need something. But we don't want to be handing out Tylenol and ibuprofen in the hallways. It should not be kept in your lockers or your backpacks. There is a system for it. So I wanted to point that out just in case you needed to review it. The nurse actually has the forms on the website as well if you are someone who wants to put it in the nurse's office. We are going to go and filter down to page 17. This is where academics comes into play. So it talks about junior, senior high honor roll, academics in general for grades 6 through 8, grades 9 through 12, talks about class rank. And then on page 18, if you are a high schooler, these are graduation requirements. So if you're ever wondering what your requirements are for graduation, they are all listed in the handbook on page 18. It also goes into December or early grad. If you are someone who is looking at that, there is a process for it. And the biggest reason I wanted to talk to you about this was because of summer school. Miss Chapman and I have made a big decision this school year that summer school is going to look very different than it has in the past. So instead of, if you fail a class, high schoolers, I need you to be listening to my voice because this directly impacts you. If you fail a class in the school year, so let's say you fail semester 1 of English 2, and then you go to second semester, you pass second semester. In the past, we would put you in summer school on an online program, and you would take English 2 semester 1 on that online program. Online. I feel like, now I've watched 2 summer school sessions go through here, and taking the online class is fine. It meets all the state requirements, but it's not the same as actually being in the class. And so we made a change this coming school year, this coming summer, that if at all possible, instead of putting you in the online class over the summer, we are going to put you in the class during the school year. So that means you would be like in this scenario, you would be a junior sitting in semester 1 of English 2, the first part of your junior year. So you'd be in a sophomore English class as a junior. I have the duty and the responsibility when I sign your diplomas when you graduate to say that you have had access and you have been educated in a certain amount of things in a certain way. It's part of the job that we do up here in the office. And I just can't say that online Edgenuity is the same as sitting in a classroom. And so whenever possible, we are going to do that instead of just popping you into a class. And I think it's important for you to know that going into this school year, that it's not as easy as just, I'll just take it online this summer. It's not going to be that. And so I have let parents and guardians know, I've communicated it out, but I want to be very intentional about letting you know as the student that summer school is going to look different this year. And I want you to keep that in mind. Junior high students, your summer school does look different. It is not online. It is taught. We have 2 in-person teachers that split between math and science and English. And you have to, if you're recommended for summer school, you're here from 8 to 12, 4 days of the week for about a month. And we make sure that you're ready for the next grade level. So summer school looks different between junior high and high school. But high schoolers, you need to know it looks a lot different for you starting this coming summer. I know that feels far away, but here we are. It's going to happen. Now I want you to scroll down to page 24. This talks about drills. You know, we have a bunch of drills all the time. Let's talk about electronic devices. This is where we talk about cell phones. I am a firm believer that cell phones in the classroom are generally speaking a distraction. And I have asked all of my teachers to utilize the holders that they have in their room to store your cell phones. So when you walk into a classroom, if you have a cell phone, the expectation is that you are putting it in the holder. It should be on silent, and then you can have it back at the end of the class. You can use it in the hallway as long as you are not recording or taking pictures. And then when you get to your next class, same thing. You put it in the holder. Now this goes through, though, what happens if you don't do that. So level 1 is handled in the classroom. The classroom teacher has spoken to or reinforced the no cell phone policy. Level 2, students have been asked to turn their device into the main office for safekeeping during the school day. Students can pick up their phone at the end of the school day. That's 2 chances, right? The third time, the device has to be turned into the main office, and then Miss Chapman or I will call home and have a parent or guardian come pick the device up from the main office. Now, I have had parents who are annoyed by this, and I don't blame them. They have a lot to do in a day, and the last thing they want to do is go pick up your cell phone from school because you can't just keep it out of the way. I don't want to do that. I have had parents so annoyed that they will just keep the phone here overnight or for a couple of days. Now, it's important for you to know when your cell phone gets turned in, we keep it in the safe up here in the office. So it is not like anyone has access to it. I don't want to hear it. I will ask you to put it on silent. I don't want anything to do with your phone. But if I have to have it here, it will stay in the safe. Either until the end of the day if you're on level 2 when you can come pick it up, or until a parent or guardian can come pick it up if you're on level 3. Now after that, we've had to do some other things, like if you still can't keep your cell phone out of your hands while you're in the classroom, some students have had to turn it in at the beginning of the school day and it stays in the office until the end of the school day. We kind of take it case by case, but my hope is that you are not ever surprised when something like this happens. If you are not following the cell phone policy, I think it is super important for you to have time away from your cell phone and social media and the pings and the dings and the updates. It is a distraction, and you are here to learn and socialize with your friends in person, IRL. You know, I think that's what it's called. I kind of stink at that. So in real life, talk to the people around you. Don't be on your phone. The other page I wanted to go through was 25. We have added a new paragraph in the handbook about scents. Let me read it to you. For the health and comfort of all students, staff, and visitors, we ask that everyone refrain from wearing or bringing scented products into the building. This includes perfumes, colognes, scented lotions, sprays, and strongly fragranced personal care items. Some individuals have allergies or sensitivities to fragrances that can trigger serious health reactions, such as headaches, respiratory issues, or skin irritation. Maintaining a scent-free environment helps ensure a safe and inclusive space for all members of our school community. We had a big problem last year with scents being sprayed in the hallway, like at people's lockers or in the locker room. I am not saying don't bring deodorant. Please bring deodorant. I don't want to smell your BO. Deodorant, though, is very different from like Bath and Body Works spray or Axe, or any kind of spray that just makes you smell good. This year it's in the handbook and it can be consequented. We have several staff members and students that have very negative responses to smells. I'm not one of those people, right? So to me, I'm like, really? But really, they do. They get headaches, they get rashes, they have asthma attacks. So this is a new one this year. I suspect it will stay. My hope is that you spray yourself in the morning before you come to school, and by the time you get here, you smell good for the rest of the day. Still bring deodorant to your PE locker. Again, we don't want you to have BO, but we are not spraying scents in the hallways, at your lockers, in the locker rooms. that is not going to be allowed. We're going to be much more strict about it because of the negative impact it has on the people in the building. So that is new this year, and I think something you should know about. Page 26 goes into vape sensors. I think everybody at this point knows we have vape sensors in many different areas of the building. Ms. Chapman and I have a procedure for when the vape sensor goes off. We will look at cameras. We will look at the pass system. We will see who has been in there. You will be asked to empty pockets, backpacks, shoes, all the things, hoodies. We don't like to do this. I hope that we never have to do this all year long. But they are there, and we will utilize what we have to if we have to. Now we're going to go all the way down to page 40. Just as you scroll, you're going to see here's our PBIS expectations. A lot of what we're talking about today is covered somewhere in this respect, responsibility, readiness. On page 31, we go into the Student Code of Conduct. We're going to go to page 40. Out of school suspensions, expulsions, probation. I don't ever want to talk about any of those things. Discipline framework. I think this is a good piece of knowledge for you. This is a chart that kind of lays out the general areas that we have seen so far. Now, there could be something that comes up throughout this school year that isn't on this chart, and Ms. Chapman and I are going to have to handle it appropriately. But this tells you like the behavior event and then the different levels of behavior. Now, one is generally handled within the classroom, where a 2, 3, 4 is handled up here for the most part, and it just kind of, your consequences get bigger as we move over those lanes. So I think it's just important for you to know this exists, and we utilize it all the time throughout the school year as things come up. Then on page 43, it kind of goes into different interventions or consequences that we can utilize. These are ideas. If we think of something else that would be more appropriate for you, Ms. Chapman and I have the right to do something that is not on this list. But this is a good starting point for us, and usually what we use when we're making decisions about what kind of consequences needed to be handed out. 45 goes into dress code violations. So anyone, if you are a 6th grader or a 9th grader, you have already heard me say this, but I recognize the trends. I know it's like, not wearing full-size shirts is a thing, and it has been for a couple of years now. I try to stay trendy, and I'm not going to wear an itty-bitty shirt to school, but I understand that it's a thing. I understand that we might see some skin at school. The thing that I ask is that certain body parts be covered at all times. So clothes must be worn in a way that genitals, buttocks, breasts, and belly buttons are fully covered with opaque fabrics. The biggest one I think for you is belly buttons. I don't care who you are. I don't want to see your belly button. So that means either your shirt is long enough or your pants are high enough that your belly button is covered. You must wear a shirt with fabric in the front, back, and on the sides under the arms. You have to have pants, jeans, shorts, or the equivalent, and you have to have shoes on. I don't want to see any muscle shirts, boy or girl. I don't want to see them. That exposes way too much skin. If you're not wearing a shirt underneath the muscle shirt, it's way too much chest. We have to remember that this is school, and we dress in different ways according to where we're going. So like if you were to see me go to like a concert on the weekend, I would probably be dressed differently than I am every day for school, right? Same as if you were to see me on a Sunday morning while I'm having a cup of coffee. I'm in some sweatpants and a tank top. I'm not dressed how I am for school. You dress for different things. What if I went scuba diving, right? Like I'm going to wear a wetsuit. That is, I'm dressing for the occasion, for the event. Same thing goes for you as a student. We are not going to a concert. We are not at a Friday night bonfire. We are not hanging out with friends in a setting that isn't school. We have some serious guidelines here and we need to follow them. So you may wear religious headwear, ripped jeans as long as underwear and your bottom is not exposed. Crossbody bag no larger than a fanny pack. So this seems to always pertain mostly to the girls. But like those crossbody bags, like fine with me. That's totally fine. But like a big, huge bag, we're not doing that. Fleece zip jackets. High school, you are allowed to wear hats, including caps and beanies, as long as your face is visible. And AirPods, as long as they do not interfere with teacher communication with the student and they are removed upon teacher request. AirPods work a lot like cell phones in that if you cannot take them out of your ears or turn them off, they will be mine. They will sit in this office until someone can come and pick them up. You cannot wear clothing that depicts violent language or images or language depicting drugs or alcohol, or hate speech, profanity, or pornography. Junior high, you cannot have any wireless headphones, earbuds in. You cannot wear gloves inside the building or accessories that could be considered dangerous or used as a weapon. Coats designed to fight the elements. So that means like we're not wearing a trench coat or a big puffy winter jacket throughout the school day. And we added tube tops this year. You are not allowed to wear tube tops. There is no scenario where that's going to fly. Miss Chapman and I have extra PE clothes in the office. So if you are dress coded, you will be asked to come on down and change. And then everybody will know you were dress coded. So if you thought you were going for I want to look really good at school, and then you're dress coded, you're all of a sudden going to not look really great at school when you're walking around in a PE uniform all day. Administration reserves the right to determine the appropriateness of a student's attire. And so I'd like to thank anyone who's dealt with us in terms of dress code. Miss Chapman and I are pretty great, but there are some expectations we have for you while you're here, and you covering the right things is part of it. I don't want to do this. Everything in this handbook I kind of don't want to do, but I will do it and I will hold you accountable to it because I think that's a life skill. You have to know how to dress for where you're going. The last thing I want to point out to you in the handbook is on page 55. So we're going to go all the way down. I should point out that we have moved into the athletic. Hold on a second. Here it is. Athletic and Activity Handbook. So there's 3 different sections of the handbook. This is the last section. On page 55, that's not right. I want to point out to you that we changed up eligibility for school-sponsored dances. So, to any school-sponsored dance, to attend any school-sponsored dance, including but not limited to homecoming and prom, junior high, this also applies to you. Students must be passing a minimum of 5 classes at the time of the dance. Academic eligibility will be determined based on the most recent grade check prior to the event. Now, we haven't had this before. It applied to prom. There had to be a grade requirement for prom. But we are moving this into all of the dances. Winter formal, any junior high dance, homecoming. If you are not passing 5 classes, you will not be eligible to attend that event. Miss Chapman and I take the fact that you are a student first. So student athlete, student club, or whatever you're doing, any kind of sponsorship in the club area, you are required to make sure that you're passing at least 5 classes before you can attend the fun stuff. And so if I were you, homecoming high school is not that far away. You need to make sure you are staying on top of your things. If you need help, we are here to help you. But it's important that you are doing your part, and we can't let you do all the fun things and not all the other things. Those are the biggest parts of the handbook that I wanted to point out. I know this is a long video, but I think they're important for you to know. You spend a lot of time here. There's a lot of fun things that happen here, and I want you to know exactly how it all shakes out. I am not trying to keep any secrets from you. If you have any other questions or concerns, Miss Chapman and I are always happy to listen to you. This is a good thing to go through with your parents if you haven't ever done that. It's, they maybe haven't actually been on the website to look at it. We used to hand out paper copies, but in this world we live in now, we try to be a little more green, and everything is available online. If you need a paper copy, I'm happy to print it for you. But those are all the important things that I think you should know. So that's the end of our handbook chat. I will see you in third hour. Adios.